Hello, everyone. It's Nurses Week beginning Saturday. So, this show is a lot about nurses and all about healthcare practitioners. But let's start by thanking nurses, especially given the last 3 years,
Yes.
but really for their work always, because nursing
Yeah.
is a tough job, hopefully rewarding, but very, very tough. So, all right. So for segment three, I'm going to be interviewing my colleague, Kara Courtois, and also Megan Courtois, who's her niece, about pathways to physical and occupational therapy.
Mm.
And there'll be a little tips about athletic training in there too. Kara will be addressing the admissions angle, and Megan will be giving you her first person account. And as promised, segments 1 and 2 are all about nursing. For those of you who are watching this on the video, you will see my finance colleague, Jan Combs, who's going to be addressing scholarships and loan forgiveness for nurses in our first segment. And then she'll be joining me again for our second segment, when we will also be joined by my admission colleague, Alexandra Rendon, to address pathways to nurses and what to know if you are considering applying to be a nurse. So welcome, Jan.
Thanks for having me, Sally, for a double segment today. Appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. I was telling Jan that it was such a treat for us, and she poo-pooed that, but it actually is. So, Jan, actually, I am gonna sing your praises, Jan, because not only do you know about finance, but you know a lot about workforce training, and you've been really helpful on that front in our job. And we're really interested in helping students who, I mean, I'm all about the classic 4-year college education. I went to a small liberal arts and sciences college and I loved it, but I also want to meet people where they are when they want to be nurses, if they want to be electricians, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So your background's been super useful in that.
Great. Thank you. Happy to be here.
All right, so let's get back to nurses.
Yeah.
First of all, and we're focusing on the finances, as I mentioned in the
Yes.
first segment. So, are there scholarships for nursing students that will
Yeah.
help them with college?
Yep, absolutely. So if you're considering college and you're considering going into nursing or really anything, there are lots of different scholarships that are out there. So for nursing specifically, just like other majors, the majority of colleges themselves have merit scholarships available. And then you might also, that's from the general admissions pool of money that they use to recruit students. And then you may also find that, say, in the College of Nursing at a particular college, that they may have some major based merit scholarship money as well. So if you're planning for college now, I do encourage students as they build their list to visit every single college website of the colleges that you're planning on applying to and check out their merit scholarship pages. Make sure you understand if they offer merit, and if they do, what the criteria is. Is it just GPA, or do you need to submit your test scores? Or is it for some other reason? Community service is big with nursing scholarships, perhaps. Check the websites, do your research, do it early, because there may be deadlines associated with having the ability to be considered for scholarships. So a lot of
Mhm.
colleges might say, hey, you need to apply by November 1st, for example. So do your research. Yes. So merit scholarships from the colleges, Sally, certainly can be very lucrative for certainly all majors and certainly for nurses as well. And then, as I know you know, there are also private donors out there
Mhm.
as well that can be very helpful for nurses. And certainly, of course, they're looking to support all different kinds of students, but nursing is certainly a popular area that they're looking to support. And I have some great resources that can get families started. Certainly, it used to be called Discover Nursing, but it's been renamed and now it's nursing.jnj.com. And
Mm.
that's because it's Johnson and Johnson. It's their website. It's a
Mhm.
terrific resource for nursing in general from a career perspective, but they also have a lot of scholarship information on that website as well. So I do recommend the J&J site for that. You can also use a regular search engine like a goingmerry.com, for example. A student can build a profile for themselves, indicate nursing major, nursing career, and anything else that's pertinent to the student.
And Going Merry, I just want to check, is Merry,
Yes,
correct?
like
Not
Merry
MAY.
Christmas. Yep,
Okay.
like Merry Christmas. I know my New England accent is terrible. So yes, going merry, like Merry Christmas. Thank you. .com. And the student can create a profile, indicate their major career aspirations and anything else that's important to them, and then get a list of scholarships. They have to go through carefully to see really which ones are quite applicable to them, and then follow the instructions, of the donor, for example. Another great place to look, and my oldest child, by the way, is a nurse now.
Mm.
And so I kind of went through this whole nursing process with him. And he checked out a lot of the local hospitals or like health centers in the area, and many of them had scholarships for nurses or health sciences kids kind of in general. So don't forget about your local community-based businesses or organizations related to healthcare. That's another great place for nurses to look. And then nursing associations. You'll
Mhm.
find there are a lot of student nursing associations, or we looked into the American Association for Men in Nursing as well. That was applicable to my student. And there's other nursing associations as well. And they're great to join for a lot of reasons, right? Just to learn about have support as a career. But they also all tend to have scholarship opportunities as well. So think about nursing associations, maybe in your area or locality. That could be another great source for private scholarships as well.
Mhm. Okay. All right. Wonderful. So what about after they finish their program? Are there types of forgiveness opportunities, like basically so they could get their loans forgiven?
There actually are a lot, Sally. And so I think we have some time here to go through some of them
Oh
because there's
yeah,
a good
absolutely.
amount.
Yeah.
And so certainly it's great to get scholarships to help you pay for college. And then as paying for college, many families do need to borrow loans, and students certainly do borrow their own loans as part of that paying for college piece of it. So afterwards, there are many different types of ways of getting your loans
Mhm.
forgiven, and not just for nurses, but some are specific to nursing, some are for all different types of occupations, but we can really hone in on ones for nurses today. The first one I'll mention, though, really is not just nurses, but I have seen many nurses and healthcare professionals in general really be able to take advantage of the federal government's public service loan forgiveness program. And you'll hear this referred to as PSLF, and
Okay.
that's what it stands for. So again, it's not just for nurses, but many do end up qualifying. And the reason is essentially PSLF allows one to have the remaining balance on their federal loans canceled after they make 120 on-time payments, okay? But they have to be full-time, they have to be working for a qualifying employer, they have to make their payments on time and the right type of payment. So it's
Mm.
a long haul, and there's a lot of things to be aware of. However, the reason why I've seen many nurses qualify is that they tend to work for the right type of employer. I mean, not all, but many do.
Mhm.
And that would be a government entity, really at any level, whether it's federal, state, or local, or they're working for an organization, a not for profit organization that kind of falls under that 401(c)(3) taxation. So if someone's working for the right type of employer, so again, nonprofit as described, they're working full time, which is 30 hours or more per week. They have the right type of loans, which would be
Mhm.
federal loan programs, and then they've paid on time for 120 payments. They can apply for forgiveness through this PSLF program. So there's a lot
Mhm.
of details. I can't go into all of it here. We don't have enough time. But if you're working now out in the field and you think you might qualify based on the little I've been able to tell you today, go to studentaid.gov/PSLF, and they tell you all of the eligibility requirements. There's a little tool on there to see whether or not you're eligible or not. So obviously this is way in the future if you're just thinking about nursing now, but just know that if you borrow loans down the road, there are many different forgiveness opportunities, one of which being PSLF. There are also programs available for those that are interested in serving in the military. So if you're a nurse and you're looking to also enroll in the military and you're willing to serve for a minimum of 3 years, the Army also has a number of programs, and it's called the Army Active Duty Health Professions Loan Repayment Program. That's a long name. But essentially, it allows a nurse who wants to also serve their country via the military to get some loan forgiveness. And so you can just look at healthcare.goarmy.com, and that will define all of the parameters for the student loan forgiveness through the military for nurses specifically. And they can have canceled up to $40,000 per year for 3 years
Wow,
for
per year,
serving.
not even total. So
Yeah.
that's significant.
So again, lots of rules and things. So refer to the website, but that's great for nurses who also want to serve, say in the Army. So
Mhm.
that's nice for sure. And then if I have time, can I mention a few more, Sally?
Just a few more. We got 2 more minutes. How about that?
Okay. So there's also a Nurse Corps loan repayment program, which is for practicing nurses after they graduate. And it's a program whereby they can have a significant amount of their loans canceled based on serving in an area designated as high need, for example. So certainly check out the BHW. That is a government entity. It falls under the health professions shortage area initiatives. And so that's another great way if you're willing to serve in an area of need to have
So that
loans.
might be like, I'm guessing, a rural area
It
that is
could very much be
underserved.
rural. It's
Yeah.
basically underserved. So many
Mhm.
are in rural, but it's not limited to that. It's really just that they're designated as an area of need, an underserved, underprivileged area.
Mhm.
And then also, there are probably a couple dozen states that have state-sponsored forgiveness programs for nurses. So I would definitely encourage people to check with either your state Department of Health or your Department of Education. Because like I said, there's dozens of states that do have their own state-based programs. Most of them do require a service requirement in order to get part of your loans forgiven or paid for you. So that is definitely can be very lucrative. Some of them pay significant amount towards loans. And then of course, we know nurses are in high need, right? There's a lot of companies that are trying to hire and retain nurses. So this isn't so much forgiveness, but it's a way of getting your loans paid. Many employers, as part of employee benefits, are actually paying for nurses. They're paying, say, $200 a month towards their loan, with the goal of helping nurses pay their loans back quicker. So if you're in a nursing program now and then you're interviewing, great question for your employer, right? Do you have loan repayment benefits that I can take advantage of? So that's another
Mhm.
way of getting rid of those loans for sure.
Yeah, and maybe a way to negotiate. If they don't have that,
Yeah.
then say, well, how about a higher salary then? I
Yeah,
mean,
sure, absolutely.
like
I like how you
negotiate,
think, Sally.
negotiate. Well, listen,
Yeah.
it took me a few jobs before I realized I could negotiate for a higher salary, and I'm not even a nurse, like
Right.
I'm in reasonable demand, but I'm not in that type of demand. So negotiate, get that higher income. So
Yep, absolutely. So lots of ways of both paying for nursing school as well as getting things forgiven later on if you did have to borrow. So lots of great options.
And just because I don't want to mislead people, so I thought high demand was mostly rural, but you said underserved, maybe impoverished, so probably lower
Yeah,
income in cities as
exactly.
well. Okay.
Exactly. So it could be urban, it could be rural. Each of these programs that has forgiveness opportunities, they're going to have a list of areas that qualify for the forgiveness. And someone can really just click on that link and look at whether it's hospitals, healthcare centers, in particular areas, and then they can decide, okay, do I want to work there or not?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. All right. Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, Jan. Well, listen, thank you so much. We're going to take a break now, but when we return, Jan will still be here, and I'll be welcoming, excuse me, my colleague, Alex Rendon.
Great.